Anna, can I just say that worries me a little bit?
What?
When you say that's the team that we are, with so many bodies going forward. Am I allowed to say that? Sorry, boss.
Horrible day for Liverpool. Manchester City march on to Wembley in the semi-final.
Watching your Liverpool team last season was how much control you had in games, and I very rarely saw end-to-end games. Is that a worry for you? Because there's a lot of attacking talent on the pitch now that maybe wasn't there as much last season.
Carragher in on goal and scores. Liverpool unpicked.
From being seen as a super team where everyone would click right away,
Because I thought it would all just slot, forgive the pun, perfectly.
to a team that is very beatable.
Arne Slot has to look at the big picture here. Liverpool, yet again, were not half the side they were last year.
From being the best team in the country to looking shaky.
And everyone right now is just a bit off it. Confidence is low.
What the hell happened with Liverpool?
Liverpool, not quite right.
We have to improve, we have to adjust.
Arne Slot came into the new season as a league-winning manager, one of only 2 Liverpool bosses to win the league in the last 35 years. He earned respect and he deserved it. But right now, even many of his biggest supporters feel like they've reached the breaking point.
I think there's huge respect for Arne Slot, what he did last season. Let's not forget, Liverpool had won 1 league title in 30 years before that man came to Liverpool. To win your league title in your first season is pretty special. But what I have the feeling is that he doesn't have unconditional love and support that Jurgen Klopp will.
Loss after loss. Goals conceded for fun at Anfield.
And very rarely this season have Liverpool ever been in control of a game of football.
Defensively, they are struggling. They are not at the level they were last season.
And a squad full of talent playing like a mid-table team. Fans are frustrated, they're confused, they're angry, and the feeling across the entire fan base is very simple. This should not be happening. Every time you think they've turned over a new leaf, they surprise you by losing again.
And I can't see Arne Slot. It doesn't fill me with confidence. It'd be interesting to see what he says, but it doesn't fill me with confidence to say, you know what, no worries, I actually know what the problem is and I'll fix it.
When the summer transfer window ended, we all thought that Liverpool had signed the Galactico. It was one of the greatest windows ever. Every week they were signing some top talent. Every week they were breaking some transfer record. Then when the season actually began, they kept winning. Sure, every game was won by a late winner, but there was a feeling that if they're winning while playing this bad, imagine what happens when they finally click. Unfortunately, we are still waiting for them to click.
But this is certainly a mini crisis because of the way that they're playing.
I think it is crisis time for Liverpool.
To see the champions lose 4 games in a row in the Premier League with the expenditure in the summer, I think we're in crisis time for Liverpool right now.
The worst part is everyone around the club seems utterly confused on what's going on.
Curtis, another defeat. How do you assess the performance and the result?
I don't know. I don't have the answers. I'm the same as everybody else. I don't even have the words. I'm past being angry inside to where I'm at the point now to where I just don't have the words. I can't even.
Well, the fans feel the same way. You see, Slot himself complains about the fact that the Reds consistently struggle against teams that play a low block and hit long balls on the counter.
A bit similar to maybe the Nottingham Forest game, where playing style of both teams were quite similar. So defending in a low block with a lot of bodies, and if they had the ball, not the risk of build-up, but play it long. That is not always easy then to play against that style of football, and that's what showed against Forest and it showed against today as well.
Well, unfortunately, Slot, if your team goes down early every single game, you're always going to be playing against a low block. Here are just a few examples throughout the season. Crystal Palace scored against them in the 9th minute. Chelsea opened the scoring in the 14th minute. United did in the 2nd minute. Brentford scored in the 5th minute. This pattern has continued onto the Champions League as well. They conceded in 6 minutes against PSV. Van Dijk's early handball was ridiculous. The game had barely started when he basically raised his arms to complain and then the ball hit him. It was a clear penalty, completely avoidable. PSV ended up scoring and Liverpool naturally were once again instantly down. Liverpool looked okay after that, but only for a bit. Szoboszlai scored and brought the team back into it, the one guy who has been consistent all season, and Liverpool actually looked like the better side for the rest of the first half. But then the second half started and Liverpool were sleepwalking. They came out flat, slow, and totally disconnected. PSV had way too much space and scored again. Konate's mistake was also crazy. He literally dodged an attacker like he was doing a dance move instead of defending. PSV scored again and that goal basically ended the match. Liverpool completely collapsed at the end. 4-1 loss at home, a total meltdown. Seems to be a consistent pattern. They'll play well for some periods of the game and then suddenly everything falls apart. It's like the team is constantly one stupid mistake away from disaster. Right now, that mentality is a huge issue. One bad moment snowballs into an entire half of chaos. So it's not just a tactical problem, there's a huge psychological one.
Defences win titles, and that's why Liverpool's got no chance now of winning this title. How can you possibly win a title when your back four are in so much disarray that you can't defend against anybody?
Yeah, Curtis Jones is a not young anymore actually, you know, he's a local player and he's passionate, he's obviously hating right now, and he's given an interview that will probably go everywhere. I'd love to have seen Mo Salah speaking there rather than Curtis Jones coming out.
At the same time though, we are at a point where words aren't enough. The amount of times I've watched an opponent run through 3 to 4 Liverpool players this year is insane.
We need to put a tackle, we need to go to the ball. Who's stopping you? The only thing in football someone can't stop you doing is running. It might not happen with the ball, or the ability, or the quality, or people have lost confidence. No one can stop you tackling, running, and pressing. So when he's saying why we're not doing, well, why aren't they then? Just do it. Don't tell us you're not doing it, or say you're going to do it in the next day. Just do it.
Under Klopp, and even last year, the pressing worked because it was organized, it was drilled, it was second nature to them. Everybody knew their role. But now the players don't seem to know where they should be. They're out of position, disconnected, and so easy to play through. And when you don't trust the structure behind you, going in full throttle doesn't feel worth it. And that explains why the team looks so hesitant, why they look so slow and unsure, both with and without the ball. The blame for the system, though, goes to the bald man. Now, the reason Slot still has a job is because of the credit he has built in the bank from winning the league in his first season. Having said that, a lot of Liverpool fans are becoming impatient. He brought them a title, but time is running out. Liverpool haven't just lost games. They've looked awful. Losing happens in football. You can deal with the occasional bad result. You can deal with a freak goal or a poor refereeing call. But what we have seen recently isn't bad luck. It's not a one-off. This has been months of watching world-class players look like a shadow of themselves, and a manager who refuses to change anything. This is why we have reached a point where many fans think Slot has to go. Nothing is being tried. If Arne Slot was making changes to the lineup, dropping out of form players, trying different formations, then no one would be asking for his head right now. It's his stubbornness to use the same players, the same formation, the same game plan, even though it's clearly not working. This is why fans are furious. This isn't some mid-table group that overachieved a year ago and are now coming back to reality. This is a squad filled with talent. Mohamed Salah, one of the best players the Premier League has ever seen, suddenly looks slower, looks hesitant, looks like he's trying things that he just doesn't have the same sharpness for anymore. If anything, this season has strengthened Salah's case for a Ballon d'Or for 2025, because he carried an even weaker team than this to a league title as the top goal scorer and top assist man. Konate and Van Dijk, who used to be two physical monsters and two of the best defenders in Europe on their day, keep making mistakes. And they're making mistakes that you would expect from an academy kid making his debut. And they've been making it all season. Then to make matters worse, what stands out is how fast the whole team collapses mentally. One bad moment, one bad bounce, one quick goal against, and it all falls apart like a house of cards. It really does look like nobody on that pitch believes they can handle adversity anymore. So how is this team suddenly turned into a side that can't string together 3 passes in a row when they're under pressure? Every match feels like copy-paste. The same approach, the same performance, same result. It genuinely feels like deja vu every time you watch Liverpool play. You could show someone highlights from their last 4 or 5 games that they've lost, and they'd all blur into one. There's slow build-up, there's no control, there's sloppy defending, and you see heads dropping the second something goes wrong. Again, like I said, if Slot had shown even a little bit of flexibility, like benching some big names, trying a different system, or dropping someone who's clearly struggling, I think a lot of fans would be more willing to ride it out. But he hasn't. He's stuck to the same ideas while the team sinks. And that stubbornness is exactly why the frustration has exploded. The football just doesn't look like Liverpool.
And they are too open all the time. Jamie Carragher mentioned about them being, it's like a basketball game, and I totally get that. And that's what he said today, it was end to end. That isn't what Liverpool were last year.
The pressing isn't sharp, the attack looks disconnected, and there's no real flow going forward. A lot of fans think that Arne Slot is trying too hard to copy PSG. You know, the high pressing, possession heavy, flashy style that Luis Enrique's side uses.
So I like it that our players like to play football, and I think last season we were a joy to watch, like for example Paris Saint-Germain, who do similar things like this.
Liverpool's front line though feels very slow and out of sync, and there's hardly any movement in the box. It's all just too slow.
They're creative players, they're players in the final half of the pitch. The midfield players and the forwards were absolutely useless. They were giving the ball away like you wouldn't believe.
We have to analyse, we have to improve, we have to adjust, not only because of the first part of this season, but also the second part of last season.
Back then, they got away with it because the league was wrapped up so early. Now though, it's exposing how disconnected the team really is. This clip going around basically sums it up. Slow passing, no urgency, poor decision making. It's like the whole team is stuck in slow motion. Every movement feels delayed, like they're second guessing everything. There's no tempo, no quick 1-2s, no sharp play through the lines, just endless sideways passes. And then a random long ball up the pitch hoping Gakpo or Salah can make something happen. One of the most entertaining teams from last year have turned into a hoof and inshallah squad. Fans miss the urgency that Liverpool used to have, both last year and under Klopp. The fast transitions, the aggressive pressing, the chaos that made opponents panic. Now it just feels flat. Even when the team's losing, there's no energy or spark. It's like they're just going through the motion. If these slow, cautious patterns are actually Slot's instructions, then Liverpool have a tactical issue. The team keeps doing the same thing over and over again. You know what's not predictable and lifeless though? Getting your own Liverpool jersey at buygamejerseys.com. Use code PETTALKS at checkout. Slot's tactical setup currently doesn't fit the players. It might just be the growing pains from trying to change the style too quickly, but it's obvious that this version of Liverpool is nowhere near as dynamic as they were in the previous season. They're not comfortable passing out from the back, the midfield doesn't link well with the forwards at all, and when the team pushes too many players forward, they leave themselves wide open on the counter. In fact, Carragher talked about this to Slot in the beginning of the season.
Anna, can I just say that worries me a little bit?
What?
When you say that's the team that we are, with so many bodies going forward. Am I allowed to say that? Sorry, boss.
No, you're allowed to say this.
And then even in the final third, you'll see 5 players standing on the last line, waiting for a miracle pass, instead of dropping short or creating options. There's just no movement, no creativity, no fluidity. After the first Premier League game, there were warning signs. Too many players bombing forward, not enough control, no balance.
I think what stood out for me watching your Liverpool team last season was how much control you had in games, and I very rarely saw end-to-end games. I feel like I'm seeing that today and in the Community Shield. Is that a worry for you? Because there's a lot of attacking talent on the pitch now that maybe wasn't there as much last season.
5 games in a row where these guys won because of late goals. Now instead of winning games late, they're losing games late. They got a taste of their own medicine against Crystal Palace and Chelsea. This season, they have been more open than Bonnie Blue, and it's been visible since the Community Shield. Everything was going well until Liverpool were carved open and ended up losing on pens. Every counter against the Reds turned into a high goal scoring opportunity.
Virgil van Dijk is going to have a poor season, and you can clearly see that in some ways he's getting older, his timing's a little bit off. For the equalising goal, if you look at his positional play on the equalising goal, he's trying to play offside when all of his teammates around him are 2-3 yards beneath him.
Now we can always brush off the Community Shield. It's one of those games where you can pretend it means something if your team wins it, but you can just as easily call it a glorified friendly if you lose. But the same pattern was visible again in opening day against Bournemouth.
You mentioned rest defence there, and it's been a problem in the pre-season, in the Community Shield, and here today.
Ekitike again showed us magic. He even got an assist to Gakpo, making him the first ever Frenchman to score and assist on his Premier League debut. While Liverpool's attack looked quality again, defensively they were more open than Salah's forehead before he went to Turkey. They blew a 2-goal lead and had to rely on a Mamma Mia moment to take the 3 points. While the money that was spent up front was providing dividends, their defense was very open. Just like the Crystal Palace game, it was so easy for Bournemouth to just hit them on the counter.
There is no doubt Liverpool are struggling. When a captain of a team comes out and talks about losing battles and losing challenges and them not being on it and the second balls, is that a message for the dressing room more than the fans?
Every attack against Liverpool is pretty much a goal.
Concede too many easy goals.
And the first time they arrived in our box, they scored a goal. And it's a very difficult cocktail to drink or to have. If you miss out on your own chances, and almost every time you concede one, the ball goes in.
And the warning signs go back further than people think. Fans are connecting the dots back to the end of last season, where performances dipped after the title was sealed. Who knew? Going to Ibiza and coming back to play matches doesn't help you. Since then, Liverpool haven't looked the same, and Slot hasn't managed to fix it yet. Even when the Reds have won, it feels like they just got away with it. When Liverpool were on their best run of form, each win came from a last-minute goal or a moment of brilliance. Against Burnley, it was a penalty. Against Newcastle, it was an injury time winner from a youngster. Against Arsenal, it was a brilliant once-in-a-lifetime free kick. For a manager who spoke so much about control last year, the games this year are the complete opposite. Every match feels chaotic, back and forth, like an NBA game. Losing even impacts how you view the players and Slot. When Liverpool were winning, Slot had so much aura, his bald head glistening as he told you exactly how he tactically manipulated the other team. Now when he loses, he looks like Humpty Dumpty. The honesty he used to have isn't refreshing as much as it is annoying. Beneath the memes about Van Dijk twerking and bald frauds, there's a genuine feeling of fear that the magic Liverpool had might be gone. The emotions are everywhere because the team is everywhere. They're just so inconsistent. In many games, the passing is slow, the movement is predictable, and the pressing that once defined them is gone. The team has become too technical and not explosive enough, which is not a great combination when the opponent's already sitting deep. Still though, Liverpool fans are not hopeless. They shouldn't be. They're just desperate for answers. They want to see change. The general feeling is that the solutions aren't far away, but they need to show up now. The patience that fans had for Klopp's rebuild seems thinner now. The expectation is instant success because of the spending and because of what this team achieved last year. These are not bad players. Liverpool still have elite talent across the pitch, but right now it feels like none of them know what they're supposed to be doing. They look like a collection of great players who just don't fit together, and a lot of that is Arne Slot's fault. To see how good this Liverpool team used to look under him, you have to watch this video right here.